The story begins with a meeting between the Yakuza and the Mafia. However, the rendezvous is cut short when a hitman with outstanding athletic and shooting ability appears. His reactions are also lightning fast. The killer quickly slaughtered the Yakuza and the Mafia. The killer is referred to as the Fable, but don't believe he's a ruthless killer with no sense of humor. One of his favorite pastimes is watching ads with comedian Jackal Tomioka. He looks up to Jackal, despite the fact that most others find him repulsive. After destroying the Yakuza and Mafia, Fable goes to his boss to request his next job. The boss is a man who helped train him from boyhood till he became an accomplished assassin. But surprisingly, the boss tells Fable to take a year off and live a normal life as Akira Sato. Furthermore, Fable is barred from killing while on leave. If Akira was caught killing someone, the boss would kill him. The boss also asked Yoko, the woman who had been in charge of collecting up Fable while on a mission, to accompany him on his leave and pretend to be his sister. Fudo and his buddy investigate the strewn bodies at the Yakuza and Mafia murder site. They are actually assigned the responsibility of eliminating the Yakuza and Mafia, but Fable steals their job. Instead of becoming outraged, they were amazed with Fable's killing abilities. Furthermore, he could murder 2 individuals with a single round. Although Fable is generally dismissed as an urban legend, many believe he was the one who massacred the Yakuza and Mafia, and now they're ready to meet the legend. Yoko and Fable, or Akira from now on, finally went on leave to Osaka, where they were handed to their boss pal, Hamada, a local Yakuza chief. Hamada and his commander, Ebihara, were first hesitant to accept Akira because they were aware he was a hitman. However, Hamada and Ebihara had no choice. After meeting at the Yakuza office, Captain Ebihara transports Akira and Yoko to their temporary residence. Ebihara maintains his favorite car in the house's garage, but he couldn't do anything when Akira and Yoko entered the automobile. Still unsure, Ebihara covertly sends 2 men to see if Akira is truly on leave as an assassin. Akira really followed his boss's commands. He let himself be thrashed until he bled, then feigned to cry like a little girl. But then the woman appeared. The woman, Misaki, offered Akira a handkerchief to clean the blood from his nose. But the awkward Akira rejects Misaki's kindness. Meanwhile, Fudo and his colleagues murder the laborers in charge of transporting the bodies of Akira's murder victims. One of the workers was forced to hand up a phone with a recording of Akira as he was in action. Ebihara is still interested about Akira, so he puts him to the test by inviting him to see a nasty wrestler who has committed a number of crimes, including assault, rape, and robberies. Ebihara used that pretext to request that Akira kill the wrestler. Ebihara repeatedly pushes him, causing Akira to put on his mask and rendering him unconscious. But Akira does not murder him, so Ebihara points his revolver at him. Akira still does not want to kill. Finally, Ebihara shot the wrestler. Ebihara then went to Hamada and informed him of Kojima's release from prison. Kojima is a member of their gang, but he's disruptive and unruly. Evidently, on his first day of freedom, Kojima nonchalantly stabbed and shot his business partner. The answer was simple. His colleague had never visited Kojima while he was in prison. After getting his revenge, Kojima comes upon a magazine featuring a cover photograph of Misaki, who turns out to be a former adult magazine model. When Kojima spotted Misaki's attractiveness, his business instincts quickly kicked in. He believes that beautiful women may create money. Meanwhile, a bored Akira begins seeking for jobs. Unfortunately, because he was too honest, Akira was often rejected. As he walks the streets, he sees Misaki again, who asks him to apply for her little design firm. Akira is unexpectedly accepted as a courier and office guy. At the Yakuza office, Ebihara cheerfully welcomes Kojima. Even though Kojima frequently causes trouble, Ebihara considers him a brother, despite the fact that Kojima was in prison for the murder of Ebihara's girlfriend. Sonagawa, a Yakuza lieutenant vying for Ebihara's leadership, finally learns about Kojima's release. He intends to identify Ebihara as the guy who ordered Kojima to kill his lover. Back to Akira, who was invited to supper with his new colleagues. However, Akira's coworkers were taken aback when they saw him eating peanuts and watermelon with the skin. They grew to believe Akira was extremely destitute. Akira recalled his upbringing, when his boss prepared him psychologically by allowing him to survive for months in the forest with a knife. When Akira returned from the restaurant, he stopped by Ebihara's house, where he encountered Kojima. Kojima still doesn't know Akira's true identity. He decided to have some fun with Akira, holding a knife to his ear and shouting out to Ebihara, However, Ibihara was discovered laying in the restroom after suffering a heart attack. He was subsequently transported to a hospital and treated there. Worried, he warns Kojima not to stir trouble while he is receiving treatment. However, Kojima appears to have forgotten his warning, as he soon approached Misaki and requested her to appear in an adult video. If Misaki refuses, Kojima will not hesitate to harass her loved ones. Fudo and his companions, still seeking for Akira, receive a task from Sunagawa to kidnap Kojima. Sunagawa also informed them of the rumor that Ebihara was harboring an outstanding assassin. Fudo was undoubtedly interested in what he heard. Misaki's uneasiness rose even more when Kojima sent her images of her mother, implying that he had discovered her mother's whereabouts. Kojima's threats make it difficult for Misaki to concentrate on her work. She then decides to divert herself by taking Akira out to dinner and asking him if he isn't terrified of living alone in the wilderness. However, Akira believes that nature treats people fairly and wisely, as opposed to cities, which are full of selfish people fighting for what they want. After dinner, Misaki visits Kojima to accept his offer. But a few moments later, Fudo and his companion arrived. They grab Kojima and Misaki and turn them over to Sunagawa. Knowing that Kojima has been kidnapped, Ebihara approaches Akira and asks him to save him. But Akira declined, prompting Ebihara to make an offer that was difficult to refuse. He will give up his favorite car if Akira agrees to help him. Akira uses his analytical talents to analyze the kidnapping incident. He is astonished to find that Misaki was present when Kojima was taken. He felt certain Misaki was also kidnapped. Meanwhile, Sunagawa coerces Kojima into speaking negatively about Ebihara in order to get him kicked out of the Yakuza. Instead of obeying, Kojima threatens Sunagawa, claiming that Ebihara has the support of a famous assassin, the Fable. As Akira prepares to assist Misaki, Yoko attempts to keep him from being entangled in an internal Yakuza struggle. It would be extremely risky if their employer found out. But Akira has made up his mind, claiming that as a regular person, he should assist Misaki, who has helped him find work. Finally, Yoko assists Akira in creating false bullets that are strong enough to immobilize victims, but do not kill them. The boss pays Ebihara a visit in the hospital and threatens to murder him for implicating Akira. Their talks show that the boss's reason for ordering Akira to take a year off and live a regular life was to weaken his murdering skill. The boss is concerned because Akira's killing ability is excessive. Akira has the potential to develop into a lethal killing machine. Ultimately, the boss spared Ebihara's life. Akira and Yoko traveled to Sunagawa headquarters. He then climbed up and entered the structure, and when he was inside, he incapacitated Sunagawa guys who were going to harm Misaki. Hearing Misaki's terrified voice, Yoko instructed Akira to calm her down. Akira imitated Jackal Tomioka's style. After Misaki was rescued, Akira searched for Kojima, who was tied up near the higher floor's edge. To save him, Akira uses the steel door to block the Yakuza's gunshots. When their guns ran out, Akira began to act, and he was able to save Kojima before he fell. But Akira's mission isn't done yet. He still needs to get Kojima out of the building full of Sunagawa soldiers. He became a little intimidated by the mass of foes who surrounding him. Furthermore, Kojima wasn't much assistance. Misaki made a mistake by leaving her hiding place at such a critical time. She was almost caught by Fudo's companion, forced to jump, and almost went from the top level. Fudo's partner couldn't help but giggle at Misaki's antics. On the other side of the building, after confining Sunagawa's troops, Kojima confronts him. Akira decides to look for Misaki. The fight between Sunagawa and Kojima was tightly matched, but Kojima eventually emerged victorious. After some digging, Akira discovered Misaki. But just as he was ready to save her, Fudo came and leaped at Akira, knocking them both to the ground floor. They then had a close-range shootout. Even Akira was nearly killed in the crossfire after Fudo effectively cornered him. However, Akira is still more agile than Fudo. He shot Fudo and caused him to faint. Following that, Akira jumped to save Misaki. Meanwhile, Fudo's partner was defeated in a single kick by Yoko. The rescue mission was completed successfully. To ensure Misaki never discovers that Akira is a Fable, Ebihara's men disguise themselves as Fables and escort her home. Not only was the rescue mission successful, but Akira's plan to avoid murdering anyone also worked well. Sunagawa's men were still alive, as were Fudo and his buddy. But just as things were about to conclude, the boss appeared. He killed Fudo and his partner because he believed they posed a threat to Akira's normal life. Akira then takes Kojima to Ebihara, who is disgusted up with his actions. He murders Kojima and presents Sonagawa with a photograph of his corpse to soothe their tension. At the end of the story, Akira is seen grilling fish on the house's roof with his pet bird. The movie concludes. So, the lesson of this film is that anyone with a terrible history may become a better person if he has the will to do so.